Hey there, this is VonTom 2020, and we are back in the realm of Cydia working on the Trading Guild of Cydia. And today, Wah and I are going to continue building up the structure of the guild hall. And while doing so, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite building techniques and how I use them. And I may muse a little bit on what comes after the guild hall and the completion of the base underneath in terms of, what our next couple of projects are going to be. So, that said, let's go ahead and get underway. So our first project of the day, I'm going to try to finish the exterior corners, which are actually quite large and a little bit complex. So I'm going for a very stately look with lots of columns and capitals and buttresses and recesses and various details. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is to add multiple layers of detail into the thickness of the wall. So notice this grass strip here on the interior side of the external wall, in between the floor, the interior floor and the wall itself. That's about how thick the finished wall is going to be. I think maybe about 5 or 6 blocks in total thickness. So with that amount of thickness in a wall, you can actually vary the materials that you use. Like I'm using stone brick for the short buttresses along the bottom of the wall, so that it really looks like the stone brick bits are supporting the andesite wall that I'm going to be building behind it. Also, I've left gaps in the buttresses so that the andesite and dark oak can kind of peek through from the bottom, which is, it creates more depth also. The andesite I'm going to be using for the innermost layer of the wall is going to be about 2 blocks thick, so I can add recesses for redstone lamps and windows and such. Now, when designing the floor plan, I really like to use odd numbers. So looking at these corners from the outside, the total structure is going to be about 11 by 11, I think. Now, the dark oak columns I've just added at the corners are going to create a bit of a frame when you're looking at it from the outside. Kind of like they're going to act like picture frames. And it's going to be a 9 by 9 area. So this is going to draw the eye to the stone brick walls that are just to the inside of them, which is going to act like a 7 by 7 frame for the 5 by 5 andesite recessed wall in the middle, which is going to be holding the redstone lamp, and that ends up right in the center right there. So a frame within a frame within a frame. The recesses for the redstone lamps are a real favorite of mine. You'll probably see it on a lot of my builds. The way that the recesses appear carved into this too thick wall prevent the redstone lamp from looking, it prevents it from sitting flush in the wall, so it's smooth with the surface of the wall. But on the other hand, it also prevents the lamp from simply just sticking out of a bare wall, looking like just a random block sticking out. Now, it's the use of the andesite stairs in the outer layer of wall that give it the carved look. We use regular stairs at the bottom, upside down stairs at the top, and a second layer of andesite in behind, and this creates a very nice carved look. And this will be the recess where the redstone lamp and redstone torch go. Now, having added all of those blocks, it's just a matter of putting the redstone lamp on the outside and running around the corner real quick to add the second. And now we can hop down and see what the finished product looks like. Now that looks very stately, very formidable. Now for the next phase, I'm going to be completing the wall that connects the corner fortification with the rest of the wall moving on towards the gate. Still in the exterior here. So for the base of the buttresses here along the bottom, I included a recessed dark oak log and alternated blocks and stair blocks to give the wall kind of a thick crenellated look. Alternating andesite with stone brick at the next elevation also adds a thick, massy looking appearance. The mid-wall fortifications, they're designed to look exactly like the ones on the corners, except I started off with a smaller frame instead of the larger 11 by 11. but they're completed with a recessed redstone lamp also, and with the dark oak beams and the stone brick wall bits, the recessed andesite wall with the redstone lamp, the mid-wall fortifications tie into the same theme, even if it is a little bit smaller than the corner fortifications, but it completes the pattern, keeps the same theme going along the wall. The andesite wall that stretches between these two fortifications, it's now going to look like it's being completely supported by the buttresses below, and the additional height to some of the buttresses with windows in between is going to break up this pattern a little bit and make the wall look real thick and well supported and pretty strong. The high buttresses that extend up the walls are eventually going to be supporting the dark oak beams that are going to form a supporting structure for the roof that we're going to get into next. Okay, so now we are going to run across the compound real quick and take WA 2020 some dark oak. She is over here working on the same thing I was working on. Building her own over here. There you go. And now it's back to business. In anticipation of that moment when we have finally moved the villagers into their booths, I have carved out a large area underneath the main base for a few farms that are going to produce lots of tradable items like sugarcane for paper, bamboo for sticks, and wool, which is going to be produced by a dispenser-powered sheep farm. I used Ilmango's design, which appears to be the most lag-efficient version, and I really like it. Since the shepherds buy 4 typical shades of wool that you find in the wild, I've bred 3 of each of the white, black, gray, and brown sheeps. The redstone contraption is all finished, and all that needs done now is getting the sheep in their little pens. Now our next move is to start breeding villagers. So Wa and I put together a real quick and easy temporary breeder over here. Just basically a stone brick shoebox that's going to grace the landscape for a short amount of time. And we are going to literally pipe these villagers in by rail from around 500, 600 blocks away by rail. And we're going to be doing it probably about 20 blocks off the ground in the sky, as you can see. This ought to be real fun. Alright, so I finally got this guy in the minecart. Almost killed him in the process, and we are about to send him shooting down the rails. And I think because this is my last minecart, I am going to have to run after him. Run on the ground like a chump, which means that one of our next couple of projects is going to be to go to the end. Alright, see if I can get this guy to go. Alright, and it's off to the races. There he goes, look at him bobbing his head while he watches me. Okay, almost there. We can, oh, and I ran out of gas. Gotta stop to eat some fried chicken. Okay, we're almost there. So we make it there, and what we're gonna do is wrestle the guy out of the cart because for some reason we could not get a layout of detector rails to work in such a way that it would pop him out of that minecart nice and easily. It's like, yeah, see, look. He's standing up there on the side, all smug. I'm gonna beat him with this shovel. No, seriously, though. They won't pathfind on the railroad tracks, so if we knock these... There we go. He's in there. Alright. So now that the breeder is up and running, I have completed a great deal of the exterior walls, and I've also finished the interior walls, as you can see, up to at least where the roof begins. So you may have caught a glimpse of the floors, which I'll show you in a moment when we complete the traders booths. I also finished the floors. Now, if I haven't mentioned it before, the trading guild is laid out like a large square, like a hallway that goes in a square with towers in the corners, and the inside right here is meant to be courtyards and gardens, and in the center of the whole build will be a large building that will be the entrance to the storage base and the few farms I've built below, and also the future location of the nether portal that leads to the nether hub. Really looking forward to getting that taken care of. Okay, we are going to be moving the villagers in very, very soon, so I need to complete the interior where the trading booths are. So for the interior here, I wanted to create wooden arches that branched up from the booths to meet the ceiling. And of course, I'll need a figured ceiling to tie it all together, of course. Now the idea was to change it up compared to what we've done on the outside with a lot of stone brick, but without straying so far from that theme we've got going that it didn't match up. So I decided that I liked the combination of stripped oak logs and birch staircase bits to form the arches. It kept the interior from looking too dark, which I like a dark interior, but I think that this created a really nice look. And it'll make really, really good arches. So in the space between the arches, I opted for a combination of spruce fence and stone brick stairs to kind of complement that polished andesite that is going to form the booths themselves. So I did this to add a little bit of depth and create a pattern behind the arches that also kind of accents where the booths are too, because polished andesite looks like columns. For the floors, you can see I used a pattern that I've used in the past, a crosshatch pattern of stripped oak and stripped birch that is framed in with around the outside with dark oak and littered with redstone lamps. It's I like to do this. It doesn't just look good. I mean, it looks great, but it also makes the floor almost completely spawn-proof, which is the real reason I really like to do it like that. Okay, headed back up front, and no build's complete until Wah goes riding by on her super fast donkey. Okay, so the columns are pretty much complete. It's time to start working on the ceiling now. So for figured ceilings, I really like to follow whatever contours are created at the tops of the walls, like the capitals of pillars, or in this case, the way the arches and birch and stripped oak broaden out towards the ceiling. Follow those contours with, say, in this case, upside down andesite stairs mixed in with, strategically mixed in with andesite blocks to create an additional level, more height and more detail. And then I follow up on top of that at a later point with say in this case I'm going to be using birch slabs to create the top flat part of the ceiling. So it creates a multi-level ceiling with lots of detail. It's actually pretty striking, and when you see it from underneath the complete thing, it's really it brings something to the room for sure. All right, so let's we've finished up quite a lot. Let's go ahead and jump down and see what this looks like from the hallway. And here we go. This is the finished product. Nice, Lots of nice detail, lots of little details to catch the eye. Now, of course, it's a little bit dark up there. I haven't added the chandeliers or the redstone lamps yet, but I soon will. But, of course, as I mentioned earlier, you don't really have a problem with spawnable spaces down here on the floor since there's so many redstone lamps. And that's the beauty of it. Well, that's going to be all for today, folks. And I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you'll stop by for the next episode. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to catch our progress as we really dig into this world. No pun intended. So that said, thank you very much, and have a great day.